If open conversation was simply allowed, their side would be crushed into oblivion in less than a day. We win.
If you tried to explain this to like a normal person, they would have an aneurysm. They would be like...
We decided that we would celebrate the 1-year anniversary of our film, What is a Woman, by releasing the film free for everybody on Twitter. And we presented this idea to Twitter several weeks ago. They were excited about it at first. They offered us the chance to buy a special event page for the film, which would have all kinds of great extra features, and it would also ensure a wide reach for the film. But then only a few days before our streaming event, Twitter changed its tune dramatically. They told us that they decided that the film is hate speech and that it violates its policies against misgendering, quote unquote, policies that they removed from their written terms of service months ago, but which they now say still exist, but in, I guess, invisible ink. And they told us that we could not have our event page. And not only that, but if we posted the film on our own page, they would tag it as hateful conduct and disable sharing on the film and make sure that nobody sees it in their feeds.
I love this because, like, one of the funniest parts about Matt Walsh's career or this documentary is that, like, it is so, like, it's like actively trying to create more mentally ill people, okay? So not only is, like, this documentary insane, okay? Not only is this documentary absolutely insane, it's been really funny to see Matt Walsh just complain about it stop, dude. He has been actively complaining about, like, one, not getting enough play out of Twitter not Twitter not actually giving it enough attention, Rotten Tomatoes like review bombing it positively, but like no serious critic has like reviewed it. It sucks from the perspective of just like enjoyable content. It has a bunch of like ironic moments of hypocrisy in it, and it ultimately doesn't really establish anything. Other than doing the classic child dialogue tree of just constantly repeating the same question over and over again, being like, what is a woman? What? Why? Until you through the war of attrition tire out your interlocutor. And that's basically the entire movie, or the entire documentary is about semantics, and it is very stupid. And whenever there's like an actual person that is like knowledgeable over whatever the woman is, right? Like the academic, he will just like belittle them and cut their responses and say, too long, didn't read.
I guess we should start with, we've got gender and sex, right?
Yeah.
What's the difference between the two? Is there a difference?
Sex refers to a set of biological characteristics, and gender is a social construct or category. What I think is often misleading about that characterization is allowed to be sort of...
Wait, what? He did not just cut him describing it. He did not skip. Well, that's great. That's cool. He's just fast forwarding through his discussion. He's like, yeah, I don't really care about that because, you're actually describing things.
Messy and complicated. But in that framing, when you split them up into these wholly discrete constructs, studies scholars, and really more specifically people who study gender and sex, we're not talking about sexuality right now, in the kind of academic universe that I travel in.
So are gender and sex two different things, or?
This is a perfect representation, by the way, a perfect representation of conservative argumentation. He's not there in good faith. He doesn't need to learn anything. He doesn't want to learn anything. As a matter of fact, he is also cutting you up, like cutting your arguments up in an effort to make sure that no one accidentally learns anything, okay? He literally is like cutting it down to be like, yeah, look at how blah, 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 boring, gay. Okay, bro. Huh, gay, bro. What's a woman? Tell me now. Please tell me, what is a woman? I've never been around one. What is a woman? This is why you can't take these animals seriously, okay? You can't. Matt Walsh is fundamentally no different than a animal in the wild, okay? One note, an animal in the wild is like, I'm hungry, I smell food, I'm gonna go eat it, okay? Matt Walsh, in this circumstance, is literally like, I want to cut propaganda. I despise trans people, and I'm gonna use every opportunity to shit on trans people. How can I do it? I'm gonna go up to this guy, and I'm gonna use them like a fleshlight, okay? Like a pocket pussy. That's it! But it trolls the libs, you know what I mean? It trolls trans people. And, trans people are very active online, so they react to it a lot. But also, transphobic people are very active online. I mean, holy So even if they are not in the real world or a relatively insignificant group of people online, especially on Twitter, as they are actively being boosted by Elon Musk, the likes of Elon Musk and whatnot, they get a lot of play, and so is Matt Walsh. Matt Walsh is getting a lot of play on Twitter for being a hateful little bigot, like a massive gremlin.
Well, shortly after 8 Eastern time last night, we found out. We published the film, as promised, in its entirety, uncensored, on the Daily Wire Twitter page. And for exactly 2 minutes, everything went well. In fact, there was so much interest around the film that in just 2 minutes, 3,500 people shared it in 2 minutes. But then the speech suppressors moved in, making good on their threat to suppress it. 2 minutes after it was posted, Twitter slapped the hateful conduct label on it, disabled retweets, disabled comments, and removed and blocked it from everybody's feed. So if you tried to retweet it, you would get a message from Twitter saying that the content cannot be shared because it interferes with, quote, healthy conversations. And if that was not enough censorship, the phrase, "what is a woman," was blacklisted from the trending list and removed every time it appeared there. And Twitter's actually been doing that for the past year, ever since the movie originally released. They've blacklisted the film from trending, and they kept up that policy yesterday. On this issue, and really any other issue, the left cannot win in a fair fight. They cannot meet us out on the field in a pitched battle and hope to prevail. They suppress and censor and deplatform because they know their position is insane. They know it can't be intellectually or morally defended. They know their arguments are laughable and flimsy. They know that their claims fall apart under the slightest scrutiny.
All of that is just irrelevant in the grand scheme of things. I know it feels hard to, especially if you spend a lot of your time online, it feels like everyone hates you. The online space can lead you to think that like something is serious, something is real when it's not. Like if you tried to explain this to like a normal person, they would have a aneurysm. They would be like, they'd be foaming out of the mouth as they try to like literally comprehend the things that you're explaining to them. But in an extremely online, in a hyper specific space like this, it bangs. When you're extremely online, you're motivated by everything that you're seeing. You're guided by it. You're conditioned into believing that it's like way more significant in the real world than it actually is. Okay? That's it. That's it. That's all I'm stating. So when you see stuff like Matt Walsh crying on Twitter about how it's been such a success actually that the left can only resort to flooding the audience reviews on Rotten Tomatoes with 1-star ratings from people who didn't watch the film. If you actually did watch it, make sure to go and leave a review, and it has like 27,000 likes. I need you to understand that it's all bullshit, okay? This is not like a real thing, okay? That's it.
Here's the truth. If open discussion on this topic of gender ideology, if open discussion was allowed everywhere, okay, if everybody could just say what they think about it, everywhere, on all the platforms, everywhere in life. You're not going to be censored. You're not going to be fired from your job. You're not going to be arrested if you live in Canada.
The talentless Matt Walsh became so popular because no matter how untalented he is, he's a person saying common sense shit on a time where people are dumb as f. He's not saying common sense shit. I'm sorry. I've never encountered a person in the wild who I thought was like a normal dude who told me about children's genitalia. Okay? That's not common sense shit. Constantly and endlessly foaming out of the mouth, thinking about children's penises is not normal, okay? It's not normal at all. It's actually very abnormal. And not only is it abnormal, but like the American voters, the broadest majority of American voters are some of the most normal motherfuckers you've ever seen, okay? People with houses that are boomers, that have like, that have experienced some of the remaining social safety nets. Like that's the average voter. The average voter is like a suburban house mom, a suburban housewife, a suburban dad who's like owns an HVAC business. These people these people thought that this kind of momentum towards like CRT and like, you know, anti-trans shit was literally objectively too disgusting to think about, okay? Most of those people know gay people now, okay? Cat's out of the bag. So like they have like children who might be queer, or they have children whose friends are queer that comes to their house and drinks apple juice with them. You know what I mean? Like you're not going to be able to like aggressively captivate an audience to just despise any and all mention of queer culture and people being queer, and especially with like transness as well. You're not going to be able to captivate them into like doing hate crimes on a regular, okay?
If open conversation was simply allowed, their side would be crushed into oblivion in less than a day. Okay, it is as simple as that. Trans ideology would disappear overnight if the other side of the argument, the critical side, was allowed to speak openly. and actually be heard without suppression or reprisal. The entire ideology hides behind a fortress of censorship because it is easily destroyed out in the open, and its proponents know that. That's why it would appear leftists at Twitter were willing to sacrifice their jobs for the sake of shutting this film down. They broke our agreement. They publicly defied their own boss. It's an act of self-immolation, professional self-immolation, putting their careers on the line, all in an effort to prevent people from seeing this film and hearing the other side. That's how terrified they are. And in the end, it was all for nothing. We win.
64% of the country strongly favors protecting transgender people from discrimination in jobs, housing, and public spaces. Ultimately, transvestigators, which is the highest form of transphobia, okay, like the most mentally ill transphobic people, they arrive at the same reality that trans advocates are saying, which is that like gender is not binary. Gender is a social construct. That's why they keep investigating cis people and claiming that they're trans, because anyone could be trans, and we can always tell people always get it wrong. They get it wrong so much.
Human rights.
They transvestigated me, man. They said because I got a fat ass from squatting more weight than they'll never be able to touch. They were like, oh, Hassan has childbearing hips. He's like a lady. Got a big fat ass, so he must be a woman actually.
What's going on? How you guys doing? We love landlords. We're here to protest against the landlords and the unions. We love them. We love landlords. We love landlords. We love them a lot. We're all against unions. They're not fair to the corporate companies.
The more you do that, and the more you end up hurting.
You end up hurting.
I walk a lonely road, the only one.
Like, if you're transvestigating me, legitimately saying I'm a woman, then, you know, or I'm AFAB, assigned female at birth, then goddamn, dude. Brother, the reality is, if me, with my 6'4", 245-pound frame, if I am a trans man, okay, then what the f is Ben Shapiro?